Opie had been playing with the same group of people on online D&D for a while on a Discord server. And after the previous DM of their campaign had burnt out, another player decided to run his own campaign. It was going to be a high fantasy, high magic setting with some cool technology and an interesting hook. In the setting, many people had been marked with an otherworldly force, and so the party met up and decided to travel through an adventuring guild to both get some money and figure out what the marks were. OP's character was an amnesiac zombie doctor who was trying to find their father and figure out their past. I don't know if being a zombie would disqualify you from being a doctor, but I definitely wouldn't want a rotting corpse doing surgery on me. But I mean, in like a D&D setting, you kind of take what you can get. The party consisted of OP's undead zombie fighter, a satyr bard, a genie patron warlock, a demonic sorcerer thrown in there, and the former DM's character, which was a ranger paladin who specialized in hunting fae and undead. OP does note that this becomes a problem later, so I'm excited. The red flags started to show up in session 1, when OP's party met in a town square that was being attacked by a swarm of giant bugs that all carried poison. But you had to roll a con save every single time the bugs attacked you, and if you failed even one of those saves, they were being poisoned and didn't even have additional rolls to get rid of the poison in later turns. During the combat, OP's fighter was poisoned, and the bard had then tried to heal the swollen pustules that had been one of the side effects after the damage had stopped, but even a healing spell could not get rid of it, and they just had to wait them out and have them naturally disappear. Now, unfortunately, even though OP's moisturizer and skincare routine for his zombie character was on point, the party would then later be attacked by the same bugs, and his character would fail another con save, and would be stuck once again with those marks and pustules on their face for a few in-game days. To make matters even worse, the party then met up with another character's paladin ranger, fun combo, and said paladin immediately tried to kill OP's zombie character, who was a low-con, dexterity-based fighter, and had taken most of the damage during the bug encounter. While OP's character was undead, they did pass as human, and the only thing that would distinguish them from a living person was not having a heartbeat. But the paladin didn't use any ability and just saw them and instantly attacked. Wisely, the DM decided to end the session there by having the train staff subdue the paladin. The party was then banned from ever using the train service again. So, thanks to the ranger paladin, looks like they were walking from here on out. Moving on to session 2, the bard and the ranger paladin both decided to make new characters, with both of them deciding to be Warforged paladins. Now, the warlock player knew that neither of the paladins would actually heal, so he also asked the DM to change classes. Once new characters had been rolled, the party was then introduced at an inn, where they then met the DM player character, Anna Marie. Now, the DM playing Anna Marie would try to introduce her to the party in the most cool and badass way he could think of. So, the party was at a bar where one of the characters, a 6'3" demon, got drunk off a sip of some of the strong liquor, and then we had Anna Marie show up. She takes the giant cup, downs the entire thing in a swig, walks off, and when the party had then yelled at her and asked her how they were going to pay for it, she just threw coins at them and continued on. Following that, the party decided to go to their rooms and retire for the night. OP's character decided to have a little fun and get up to some friendly shenanigans by sneaking into the cleric's room and just drawing on his face. Anna Marie somehow heard OP's character in a completely different room when they rolled a 23 in a stealth check, and she was apparently sleeping at this time. Anna Marie should not have known that OP was up to anything or doing any form of shenanigans, but when she confronted him, he tried to play it off that he was just looking for his room. The DMPC Anna Marie then decides to pin OP's character to a wall, yell at him, and then just chuck him out a window for the reason being of making noise at night with a 23 stealth check. The DM would then have Anna Marie make the entire party breakfast in the morning, describing it as the best thing that anyone in the party has ever eaten. She would then go on and on during breakfast about the people that she's sworn to protect, and about her sister Samantha, who just so happens to be the NPC that had recruited OP's party initially for the Adventurers Guild. The entire party wanted to ditch Anna Marie, but the DM would let them know that they need her cart to travel to the city since they got banned from the train. They make it halfway to the next town, and the trip just entirely felt like an excuse for the DM to brag about how cool Anna Marie is, and that she's so badass, and basically is the team adult, with every other character just being dumb children who make dumb decisions and just need to follow Anna Marie's guidance. Like commercial breaks placed throughout the journey, the party would then have to fight more of the poisonous bugs, and OP describes them as just the entire combat counters just sucking, with the bugs doing the same annoying poison damage, except there were even more of them. There was just no way to avoid the poison this time, and it didn't have a cure. There was no save. As a side note, OP does talk about that he should have communicated what his problems were, and kind of everything he was feeling about the campaign to the DM, instead of making jokes about it and kind of trying to play it off while being passive-aggressive about it. I agree, obviously it's hard to just bring up kind of conflict and talk about it, but if you're just not enjoying it and you think there's a problem, just try to just be open and talk with the DM and talk with the other players. With that being said, OP would then go on to describe the final session, Session 3, as the one that broke the camel's back. The party had made camp for the night, with his zombie character and the other two Warforged Paladins not needing sleep. They all just decided to kind of stay up around the campfire and chat. OP's character would then notice a weird trail of fireflies leading into the forest. He decided to go investigate, telling the others that if he's not back in an hour, send some help. One of the Warforged Paladins sends their familiar with OP to help keep an eye out. OP eventually sees the fireflies gathering around a figure in a clearing. He's then pulled into a private call with the DM, as they describe the figure as a army general from another world who was talking about conquering this one. OP, hearing this, tries to leave and report back to his party. As OP's character climbs down the tree, the general spots them, apparently due to the fireflies being on his side and sticking to OP, even though OP's character had rolled an insane 29 in stealth. They were instantly spotted. They were forced into a combat with the general, with them being unable to run. As OP tried to disengage and get away, the fireflies were encircling the clearing, blocking their exit. OP got into a grueling encounter with the general, 1v1 style. Despite being a fighter, he was extremely squishy, with a 10 in constitution. So this just was not going to end well. OP's zombie fighter did actually manage to do a hefty bit of damage to the general, but they eventually failed a con save and were poisoned with 35 extra damage on the hit, causing them to fall unconscious. At this time, OP's party, out of game, were all telling the DM like, hey, when is the rest of the party coming? Something's going on. But apparently, they were miles away by the time that the party had gotten there, with OP being dragged into the air by the flying general. Got wings now. The general then starts to transform OP's character into just a horrifying bug monster, completely against the will of OP, who the DM never asked beforehand, or like, hey, gave any reason as to why he was losing player agency and just being turned into a grotesque abomination. As OP's being just dragged into the sky, the party ends up arguing about spell range for a solid 15 minutes, with the cleric finally managing to shoot him down, and they plummet into a tree and are just instantly unconscious with no health. Luckily, OP does manage to succeed on their death saving throws, with the cleric even healing them. The poison still lingered, and not even a restoration spell could prevent OP from fully transforming into a bug monster. So, the party goes to Anna Marie. Dragging OP to the DM character Anna Marie, they're pleased to find that this fighter, Anna Marie was a fighter, has access to level 5 healing spells that the party and the cleric don't have. At this time, the whole party out of game is just calling bullshit. Eventually, OP's character is healed and finally free of poison. With Anna Marie's further help, the party makes it to the city they were heading to, where they give them knowledge of the general and that, for the most part, they had stopped the attack. The resident big shot of the city thanked them and asked them to look for his daughter, who turns out to be Anna Marie and Samantha. At this point, OP decides to make a mental note to just kill Anna Marie if she gets forced onto the party again. Sadly, there is no truly wonderful happy ending, where OP and the party get to kill the DMPC Anna Marie. Following the third session, the party finally decided to talk with the DM separately, talk about their grievances, kind of figure things out. To the credit of the DM, he apologized and entirely took accountability for what was happening, and admittedly, he was a rather new DM. And while we don't get to see the infuriating DMPC Anna Marie killed, overall it is a happy ending, with the group staying together, having a different person DM,